Okay, so I just finished the Matus event, and I must say, my little Jien can't be this cute! Anyway, look, I think you all knew this video was gonna drop for me the moment you saw Jien in Node 1, so let's just get to the point, okay? Tell me why Jien is like 12 years old in this event, and somehow she's being talked about like she is the devil. Like, dog, every time they consistently make this woman feel like this whenever she walks into the room. Like, let's take a look at the first node. Cillian is dead ass glazing her father, talking normally, having the time of her life, eating cookies and shit like that, when suddenly she feels something's off. The music died, the air suddenly shifts when she hears. From this single interaction, she felt the aura and it shook. She's out here acting like Sakuta is right in front of her when she literally just passed on a message from her father. Even when they leave the room, Maxwell's out here like, yeesh, how's Cillian supposed to compete with all that? So at this point, I'm sitting back and wondering, damn, what did Jien do to make all these people feel the aura off of basic sentences? Cause I swear, if people don't like her cause they thought she was creepy, I'm just gonna take a page from Anderson's book and annihilate all of Missless. Luckily, Siwon has us covered for the most part. From the get-go, we get to see Jien for two things. Developing a new Nikke brain scan technology at a young age, nice. And she also refers to people as objects. Not so nice. Even then, the relationship she tried to build with Cillian seemed pretty real and genuine. And that's what completely threw me off. Cause for someone who's supposedly this manipulative devil, Jien's interactions with Cillian are surprisingly normal. According to Cillian, Jien would constantly ask her to eat together despite how much Cillian lashed out and pushed her away, even when she got angry at her for calling her mate a thing, which she would immediately apologize right after. And then it happened. After her father Enmei killed the mate Cillian cared about under the pretext of being a spy, Jien noticed her little sister was struggling to cope with the loss. So she decided to fix it. She recovered the maid's brain, performed a memory wipe because, you know, alleged spy and all, and turned her into a Nikke as a gift for Cillian. I'm sorry, but this was the grand reason Cillian hates Jien that much? Like, I understand pulling a Callisto wasn't the best thing to give as a gift to others, but in Jien's eyes, she genuinely doesn't understand why someone would be this upset. In her eyes, this might be the most logical thing to do. She might have just went, you can't cope with your maid being gone? Bet, I'll just bring her back. Problem solved. She clearly meant well from this. The problem is, she has the emotional intelligence of a computer. She's not acting out of cruelty, she's just acting out of complete emotional disconnect. And those are two very different things. So now that we all see Jien isn't all that bad, why is she stuck in the deepest part of MMR, forced to never see the Dome of Eternity again? Well, we got this man here to thank for that. This is Enmei, and despite him looking like he just walked out of a cultivation manhwa with the nickname the Black Dragon Emperor of the Nine Heavens or some shit, he's somehow giving Mustang a run for his money in the worst father of all time department. You see, he's looking for a heir for the CEO position. Why? So he can go fuck off somewhere and not be rolling for another 3 to 4 years. The issue is that both of the daughters are mid in his eyes, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna focus onto Jien. You see, according to him, despite the big one actually wanting the position and coming up with the technology mentioned before solo, she is far too inhumane. And if she gains the position of CEO and whatever knowledge comes with it, she's going to be clashing with Enoch constantly. So naturally, he gives it to his 6-year-old daughter and banishes Jien to the depths of MMR, forcing her to never see the light of day again. Unless Cillian approves of her to come up, but we know that Cillian hates her, or Cillian performs like shit so Jien can replace her. And to top it off, when Jien is obviously pissed at the matter, he just starts to aura farm on her. And somehow people will say that her response swearing that she's going to put him on a lab table and pick apart his brain if he ever gets out is just crossing the line. Let's do this. Imagine your father told you that you're never going to see the light of day again, and then just starts hitting a money spread on you when you're upset, talking about some, yeah, what you gonna do about it? You ain't got no money, no motion, no paper, you ain't got no friends, no status, yeah, to me, that isn't enough. I would have probably just killed him. Looking back at the scene that comes after, I think it's actually pretty brilliant. Everyone's eye is on Cillian, the girl that was forced to become the CEO of the Big Three at such a young age. the employees, the board, and anyone else that was in this ceremony. It perfectly reflects you, the reader, in this situation, that despite everyone's thoughts on the situation at hand, you can't help but feel somewhat bad for her and the position she's put in. But just like how everyone's eyes are on Jien busy feeling sorry for the youngest CEO of all time, almost nobody stops to think about the other sister, the one who has just been sentenced to spend an indefinite amount of time in the confines of MMR, unsure of whether or not she'd ever see the Dome of Eternity again. Just like the people standing in this room, we completely overlooked Jien. Sure, she has some other researchers there, but at the end of the day, they can leave. And here's the part that gets me the most. You'd think someone who's been betrayed by her own father and locked away underground would spend the rest of her life plotting against the sister who didn't even bother to release her, knowing that she has the key. She doesn't. She's made the most out of her situation and learned all sorts of things at her time in MMR. And when the board finally calls her up, the first thing that she does is go over to Jien and gives her advice and encouragement in her own way, pushing her to use the Hero Nikke project that she's put off after so many years. That's not the behavior I would have expected from the demon everyone spent so much time warning the viewer about. We need some justice for Jien. And that's precisely why I think she should be the girl from chapter 13. In my opinion, Jien is a character that has been heavily misunderstood by the players and characters in this game just based on vibes. She's a genius and means well, but everyone sees her as off-putting or cruel because she lacks empathy. But I find it hard to believe that this person who's never lied, hasn't done anything for the sake of evil, and has always tried to be friends with her sister could do anything wrong. Leave my wife alone. Thanks. Okay, now that I'm done defending Jien, you know that one scene where Enmei is talking about looking for ways to put Jien on a leash? Yeah, he was referring to me. In some alternate reality, mirror world, or some shit, I am the leash. Well, a younger version of me. Yeah, I'm not weird, guys. I'm not weird. Out. And I'm pissed off that Jien didn't have a single CG in this entire event. Like why? We need more Jien. I'm hoping that like some artist, just starts cooking up more art for her and shit. But yeah, that's all. See you on the next one. Bye.